Good evening, folks, or actually good morning. I guess it's Saturday morning. It's after midnight for sure. Um, so this is what happens when it's Friday and I have some time to myself, and I start thinking about things and I start looking at things. I get ranty, and when I get ranty, I decide I'm gonna make a video and put it up. I'm gonna tell you that these are my own opinions, obviously. And so, if you disagree with them, that's fine. I don't much care if you do or not. This is just me ranting. And if you agree with me, well, then good. There's two arguments, or two things that has been retread in the wargaming hobby for a long time now. First of which is always the argument of what is and what is not a war game. We're not going to talk about that one today. That's a minefield I don't even want to get start to navigate. The second one is war games are dying. Now, this is what I'm going to address here: the death to war games, or war games are not going to be around in a couple of years, or war games are over. This is nothing new. We're looking at a Wargamer magazine, Volume 2, number 15. It'll be an apparent why directly. So, when I hear these things, I've said, I've heard these things for a long time. A long time. And it hasn't proved true thus far. Are we ever going to see a day that war games were the thing, as it was for a short time, the thing amongst gamers, if you want to call it that, as it was for a very short window in the 70s? No, we probably won't. I'll say, I don't know for sure, I'll say probably not. But are war games on the verge of going extinct? I don't think that's true either. Some reasons I say that, show you here. This is, like I said, this is Wargamer Magazine, Volume 2, number 13. And let's see, what year is this from? This is from June of 1989. This is all right. Incidentally, it's being edited at this time by Callie Cummins, who is, I do believe, still in charge of production at Decision Games. She's married to Chris Cummins, as far as I'm aware of. But artist, graphic artist, designer in her own right. So she was a pretty good editor here. And this issue caused me some trepidation back then. Okay, so we'll talk about I'm just going to give you a couple paragraphs of introductory games and how we can help the hobby. Welcome to our special Origins issue. This issue we are concentrating on those games that are considered introductory to the hobby, such as Axis and Allies and Fortress America. At the regional conventions we attend in Southern California, these are the two most popular games among the younger crowd, approximately the 14 to 24 year age range. By the way, I was in that age range at the time of this writing. And I was playing, I'll be honest, I was playing Fortress America. Yeah. And Axis and Allies too. Yeah, sure. I was playing that back then. I still play now and again. It's not like I'm above it. All right. And we'll conclude here. One of the most interesting comments or on the feedback cards we did receive was talking about feedback cards. They got get some genius to design games with rules as simple as Go, and as complex to master, as visually appealing as miniatures, as full of surprises as craps and as friendly as Monopoly, and gamers will flock to the hobby. Anyone out there can have a game? Anyone out there have a game that would fit such criteria? Kelly Cummins. Okay, what's my point? My point is, we've been bandying this about for years now. War games are dying. And I'm hearing it a lot nowadays too. Again, I just recently, a couple of things. I heard a publisher, a war game publisher, saying, "Well, war games were who came on the scene and getting close to 2010s." They said, "Well, war games were dying, and they were in the." They hadn't updated and moved on or done anything well until I come along, and we put war games back because we updated them and we modernized them. They were getting left behind by designer games, Euro games. They were just leaving until we came along. Now, and I've heard a couple people buy into that. Now, as a publisher, he's saying that for one reason. He wants people to get into his games. In truth, his games are not much different than a bunch of others out there on the market. Good production values, but not much different. But some people buy into that, and it will sell games. And so I'm totally respectful of the hustle. I see it. Good deal. And the other day I heard, it's been some time ago now, but I heard someone, and it was online, and it was I'm going to lightly paraphrase here, but all these words where I do believe said, it was said, if you like Starfleet Battles or Advanced Squad Leader, there's no judgment from me here. But, and then he says, but, he concludes it with, but you will be the last generation to play those games. And that is a fact. Well, first of all, that's full of judgment there. That's all judgment in that statement. And second of all, that's not a fact. That's an opinion. An opinion maybe you're given with some educated guess. An educated opinion, but still it's an opinion. That's not a fact. So for such a simple-minded statement such as that, maybe it's a slip of the tongue. I don't know, but it's a quite simple statement. And that particular video, they were talking about a particular game and getting into, games need to become more accessible to more people. War games need to be this accessible, or they're just going to die. They're going to be gone. Folks, we've been saying that since, here we go, 1989. This right here caused me to think, well, this hobby's going to just go away, and what am I doing? When I was younger, this issue right here did that to me, and I obsessed over it and worried about it. SPI closed. Well, war games are down the wane, and they were. To be fair, they were. Avalon Hill closes, and our Greg Kostikian writes his goodbye to war games, which SPI died for your sins in 1996. It's a good piece, and I look at it periodically, but because war games were apparently dead. I mean, they were pretty bad off at that point. 98, Avalon Hill closes. Again, everyone says war games are over. War games are done. Back when SPI closes, people are saying war games are done. We're going to move toward more video type games, Dungeons and Dragons. We're not going to ever go back to these paper games or these tabletop games. This is just it. And that was my thought process as well, to be quite honest with you. And then again, like I said, 98, Avalon Hill is controlling about 80% of the market, and they closed. Well, obviously, everything's going to die, right? And it doesn't. And now we're producing a lot of games. Probably, there are a lot of games produced, but point being, it's a niche. Yes, it's always been a niche. Why do you think the General magazine was so popular? One of it was getting people to play by mail. Play by mail has been a thing in war games since the very beginning. Why? Again, difficult to find opponents for some people. I've never had that problem, knock on wood, but as long as they make cardboard, there will be war games of some sort. And I don't think we have to make a game. Update and innovation has always been a part of wargaming. I mean, look, card-driven games came around in '94, and after that, the card-driven games were a big thing. So innovation is important, but we don't have to say, hey, we're making a Euro game, and we're going to call it a war game, and that's going to be what it is. That's going to attract people. I just don't think it will. I mean, how do you attract people? Same way you were attracted to it. What keeps you around? Same way. What keeps other people around? Same thing that keeps you around. And people don't want to accept that. I mean, look, I've tried to get my wife into war games. She's got a degree in systems engineering. So she's been in STEM her whole life. She just doesn't like it. It's just not for her. And I've asked her, why not? Why don't you like this? She's I don't like rules. She just doesn't like rules. So I know from personal experience, there's just sometimes women just don't want to be involved with it. When they do, they should be encouraged, yes. And we should encourage people to play games. We should be open with it. But I see wargamers being much more open than they have been in the past. And but we've got to accept it is a niche. It'll never be as big as board. And incidentally, as late as something like 2013, even 2015, I was seeing articles on how board games die. It's just going to wane and wane and wane, and that hasn't proved to be true. And so now we're back to wargaming. Is it done? No, it's not done. Even if it is, what can I do about it? Or what can you do about it? My suggestion is play games, introduce people to games when they are interested in them. You can't force up anything upon anybody. Can't say you need to play this, but introduce people to games. And everything will be okay. That's my take on it. Again, I've heard this argument 30 years ago. And we will continue to hear this argument. And it's an old retread, and it's tiresome, and it's boorish. So, but we're going to keep hearing it, and I'll keep beating my drum that I don't think they're going to die. They'll be around in some form or fashion as long as there's cardboard. All right, folks. That's my time. That's my rant. Y'all have a great weekend. Happy gaming to you. Bye-bye.